just another porch. Another front porch, I'm just along, I'm another front porch. Is it 12 o'clock? Is it 12 o'clock? Is it 12 o'clock? Is it 12 o'clock? 'Cause we're here. Whoa, are you here? 'Cause it's 12 o'clock on the front porch. Oh, it's 12 o'clock on the front, 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 on the front. Oh, it's easy as a 1, 2, 3. Everybody grab something to eat, 'cause it's lunchtime. Unless you're on the West Coast, then grab some coffee, 'cause it's breakfast time. Unless you're on the German coast, then it's evening time. So we're really here. We're here for lunch, breakfast, and dinner. We're here for every meal of the day. Every meal. Hello, everybody. It is the 24th of September. And if I were really Verdine White, bass player from Earth, Wind & Fire, I would launch into Do You Remember the 21st day of September? One of my favorite songs of all time. I just love it. Really, really, really glad that you're here with us today, and because otherwise we'd be alone. And I love Tay dearly, but I'd rather have company as we do this. So Lucky's here today. She's sleeping on the porch. She doesn't look like she's well. That's our little dog. I hope she's okay. She's just super, super mellow. But anyway, hoping you are well. And I'm gonna break into a song. And I'm gonna say this. I really don't want to make this show, this fun hour, political. My wish is that it's a place where we can just refresh and hear some good news about super cool humans and hear some good stories about what people are doing that makes the world a better place. But I'm just gonna say, because I believe in being honest, that with the current events of the day, I am hurting in my heart. I just have a hurting heart today. So there it is. John Lennon. Gotta put the other page on there. Imagine there's no heaven. It's easy if you try. No hell below us. Oh, above us only sky. Imagine all the people living for today. Imagine there's no countries. It's not that hard to do. Nothing to kill or die for. Whoa, no religion too. Imagine all the people who are living life in peace. Oh, you may say that I'm a dreamer. Oh, but I'm not the only one. I hope that someday you join us. And the world will live as one. I really mean this. I really hope it. I really wish it. And I really dream it. Imagine no possessions. I wonder if you can. Birds are still with us. And, yeah, rain is kind of lifting. So, if you share this video, this live stream, live, while it's live, share the live thing, you could win this guitar. VG signature from Luna. This is mine. This is actually the protocol, isn't it? Yeah, it is. But you could win a new one, and it's inside waiting. So we keep track of who shares, and we do. I write it down every week, who shares. And if you share 5 times during the show, your name is in there 5 times. So spread the love, spread the word. We've got some really fun guests coming on today. Besides Kelly, weather woman extraordinaire, who's going to be on very shortly, we have David Fader coming in from Florida, playing his bohemian flamenco fingerstyle craziness. Really, really awesome stuff that David has. And we have Angela Petrilli, who is a fellow Guitar Cloud Symposium instructor, new for this second version of the Symposium, and she's going to be showing us some slide tricks. She's awesome. So that's that. I'd like to dedicate this show today to Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And y'all know, if you don't know who she is, and if you don't know the wonderfulness of her and the things that she's brought to us through her entire life, as a lawyer, as a justice on the Supreme Court. There's so much stuff you can read. It's all over the news. So I'm hoping that you will just tune in if you haven't yet. She is definitely an iconic figure. And I'd like to read, in honor of Ruth, I'd like to read a poem by Maya Angelou. So that's what I'm going to do. Excuse me for hitting the mic over there. Of course, if you don't know Maya Angelou's stuff, another thing you need to know. This is called When Great Trees Fall. When great trees fall, rocks on distant hills shudder. Lions hunker down in tall grasses, and even elephants lumber after safety. When great trees fall in forests, small things recoil into silence, their senses eroded beyond fear. When great souls die, the air around us becomes light, rare, sterile. We breathe briefly. Our eyes briefly see with a hurtful clarity. Our memory suddenly sharpened, examines, gnaws on kind words unsaid, promised walks never taken. Great souls die, and our reality, bound to them, takes leave of us. Our souls, dependent upon their nurture, now shrink, wizened. Our minds, formed and informed by their radiance, fall away. We are not so much maddened as reduced to the unutterable ignorance of the dark, cold caves. And when great souls die, after a period, peace blooms, slowly and always irregularly. Spaces fill with a kind of soothing electric vibration. Our senses restored, never to be the same, whisper to us. They existed. They existed. We can be and be better, for they existed. Thank you to Maya Angelou. Thank you to Ruth Bader Ginsburg. When great trees fall. Just a little bit of information that I thought was just cool to know about Ruth. Did you know that her son, James Ginsburg, started a record label? So his vision was to provide local musicians in Chicago with a recording home. Founded in 1989, Cedille Records, that's C-E-D-I-L-L-E, became the only Chicago-based classical label, the first since Mercury Living presence in the 1950s, and held that distinction for nearly 2 decades. So it's a classical music record label. Never knew that. And Ruth's daughter Jane, well, she's a lawyer. She is the Morton L. Janclow Professor of Literary and Artistic Property Law at the Columbia Law School. She also directs the law school's Kernochan Center for Law, Media, and the Arts. So just that little trivia about her children. We are going to bring in, from Brooklyn, you know who I'm going to bring in? I'm going to bring in Kelly Bedwell doing some weather for us. Come on, Kel.
Good afternoon. This is Kelly Bedwell reporting to you from WKFU, your Brooklyn weather station. We are here in the spectacular and historic neighborhood of Ditmas Park in Flatbush, Brooklyn. This place is crazy. I mean, you would never know that I'm in Brooklyn. And meanwhile, Coney Island Avenue is right over there. Anyway, I just want to show you a couple of these houses. There are a lot of Victorian homes here. Ditmas Park was owned by, guess who? The Ditmas family. The land was owned by them back in, and it was not, no houses were built on it until the early 19th century when a man named Lewis Pounds, a real estate developer. I mean, I didn't even know we had real estate developers then. Obviously developed this neighborhood because they wanted people to know that they didn't have to leave and go out to the suburbs to live when they could live in beautiful Brooklyn. So there's one of the Victorians. Look at this baby. Okay, that's George Washington's home. Just kidding. But I mean, I'm not like an architecture freak or anything, but I just think this stuff is beautiful. And I might do a couple more reports from here as I learn about the homes.
Cool.
Because I could walk here. So anyway, I'll continue to walk. And I was going to run, but maybe that's not a good idea. Anyway, so the weather here in Brooklyn is perfect. It's beautiful. It's highs in the 70s for the rest of the week and lows in the 60s. Perfect air conditioner off, windows open, sleeping weather. Now, sorry to report that North Carolina will warm up this weekend, but then it's just going to be highs in the 60s and lows in the 40s the first week of October. One more thing I want to talk about. Guess what? Climate change. What are some of the things that we can do to help? Less use of plastics. You know, most people know that plastics are basically made from fossil fuels, and they never, ever, ever decompose, or whatever the word is. So a couple of ideas. Wow, there's another beautiful home. Yeah, I could barely see what I'm doing, so avoid one-use plastics. You know, you don't have to buy the lettuce in the plastic shell. You can get the lettuce and wash it yourself. It might take an extra minute to lift your hand and do something. Number 2, don't buy bottled water. We already know that, yet we still sometimes, I forgot water, let me buy this. I don't do it that much. 3, give up chewing gum. Gum is a polymer derived from fossil fuels. It's long-lasting, as all plastic is, but it doesn't decompose. So that piece of gum that you chewed up and spit out on the sidewalk when you were 10 years old, 50 years ago, is still there. I don't know, really, I don't know, but that's what it says. Number 4 is microbeads. And microplastics, I think they're called. They're found in facial scrubs, toothpaste, soap, etc. But obviously, I don't know that much about it. But if you look at the website beatthemicrobead.org, you can look up some stuff. So anyway, I'll be around here in Ditmas Park another time, and I also hope to go to different New York City landmarks and do my report. So that poem was beautiful. Vicki, I had read that the other day. I too am heartbroken without saying anything else about it, even though everybody knows what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Anything else?
No, thanks for showing us beautiful Ditmas.
Ditmas Park in the Flatbush section of Brooklyn. Anyway, this is Kelly Bedwell reporting to you from WKFU, New York.
Thank you, Kelly. Okay. Awesome. Here's a cool story about food in the pandemic. The pandemic has seriously backed up food supply chains, and farmers often have to throw away ton after ton of excess product that can't reach restaurants or grocery store shelves. In Washington State, a unique nonprofit is helping reroute all of that great produce to people who really need it. A few months ago, George Ahern, who grew up in the farming town of Othello, Washington, got the idea to connect farmers in the eastern part of the state with food banks and meal programs in the west. East meets west. Except there was a problem. You can't just drop off bunches of dirty potatoes and onions. Instead, Ahern linked up with two co-founders, Nancy Ballin and Sophia Pastor, who organized convoys to drive across the state, to pick up the produce and assembled volunteers to clean and bag the food. To date, East West Food Rescue has helped deliver, guess how many billion pounds? 8 million pounds of fresh produce to help people in need. That's a lot of food. Thank you. I have seen minutes of effort move thousands and thousands of pounds of food, Ahern says. Just figure out what you are passionate about and what you could get involved in. Nice words. Thank you. That's awesome. Many years ago, when I was just a baby, not really a baby, but many years ago, I was invited to play at the Zihuatanejo Guitar Festival in Zihuatanejo, Mexico. And one of the wonderful, wonderful benefits of that, besides being there, which was incredible, was meeting tons of great musicians. And one of those is with us today. Come on, David Fader. Welcome, David Fader. Put your hands together. How you doing? Are you there? Yeah. There you are. Can we hear you?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Testing.
Yeah. Sounding... Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, 7, 8. Awesome. So,
Got it?
yeah, and I love your shirt.
Oh, yeah. So my friend Tracy, who's a big fan for years, every year my birthday buys me another shirt. This is one of the Tracy shirts.
Oh, could
She's
I
my
be friends with her?
department.
David, why do people call your music variations of bohemian, flamenco, fingerstyle? Like, how did that happen
It's Derek
to you?
Seaver's fault to begin with, but one day somebody... okay, here's a funny story. I had a jazz band. We played Charlie Parker, John Coltrane, all that kind of stuff, and it was around the time when I had given up saxophone and kind of switched over to the guitar. And we had this jazz band, and we were hired at a Greek restaurant to play jazz. Halfway through the night, the owner comes up and he says, man, when are you going to start playing jazz? And I go, well, we just played a Parker tune. We played Giant Steps right before that. What is it exactly you want? He goes, jazz, like Gypsy Kings. And I go, oh, that kind of jazz. So I turned to the guys, none of whom spoke English except for the bass player. And I said, okay, guys, All Along the Watchtower in Spanish. And so we did this rumba version with, the 3-4 chord All Along the Watchtower thing, because I couldn't think of anything else to do. I mean, we had already played Blue Bossa, right? That wasn't quite Gypsy Kings. And that became a song called Salagua, which was on my first album. And it's just, very simple song, but it's the one that bought my house. So, it was a weird way that it started. And we kept the jazz band for years, but my personal music, I do play a lot of flamenco stuff, not traditional, and I'm influenced by a lot of it. I probably won't do much of it today, but I kind of feel that stuff. And so one day somebody asked me, "What kind of music do you play?" And I go, "Well, it's like flamenco, but it's, according to a friend of mine in New York, kind of hillbilly flamenco, which is redundant because, in Spain, for the longest time, the gypsy music was the hillbilly music. It was the peasant music.
Yeah.
And so my stuff is more Americana meets Spanish techniques and things. And over the last 5 or 6 years, through the help of a friend, Kai Nazaro, I've been learning actual flamenco, which is, fun things to do in your 60s.
Well, play us something, David.
Okay, I'm going to play you a song called Lisa's Song, and it is dedicated to my friend Lisa Gutkin, who's the fiddle player for the Klezmatics. She's also Sting's fiddle player from the play he was doing in New York, and I only get to play with her once or twice a year, so I wrote this for us to play together. 6 years later, she played it with me on New Year's last year. So
Awesome.
Here it is. I'm going to play her parts too.
Excellent.
For those of you jamming along, it's in D. Lisa's Song. Thank you.
That was great. That was really beautiful. Really beautiful.
Thank you. It's there's a version of it online, a couple of versions online, one from New Year's and one from this bar gig that Lisa just happened to be in town and crashed my gig, which was great, and where she plays violin on it. And if you get a chance to hear that,
Yeah, I bet it's gorgeous.
friggin' amazing.
Yeah.
The next song I'm gonna play.
Yeah.
I'm shortening these songs. They're usually really ponderous, but our friend, when Ruth passed away, it was heartbreaking, and it was on the Rosh Hashanah Eve, and we
Yes.
were already, emotional, and this happened. But a good friend of ours passed away a couple days later, who was a jazz icon, probably one of the last living guys that played with Coltrane and Bird, Ira Sullivan, really good friend of our family and my son's mentor on saxophone. Nine got to play with George Clinton, but Ira raised him in music, and he was one of the most in touch people with his musical spirituality that I've ever met in my life. And everybody that he touched, including Jaco Pastorius and almost every musician that's ever lived in the South or in Chicago, he's touched all of our lives. And now he's hanging out with Ruth and John Coltrane and all those guys. So this next song is called Black Emerald. I wrote it in the Azores after I met you, actually. And I was sitting on the beach, and soon after, I think that first Ziwatameo show, and anyway, it's about floating away with the waves. You ready?
You ready? Let's do it.
Okay.
Wow, that was just gorgeous, David.
That
Gorgeous.
was Black Emerald.
Wow.
I can't hear you, babe.
He can't hear me. He can't hear me.
The sound is off.
Can you hear me now?
There you are.
Yeah, thank you. That was beautiful, just gorgeous.
Thanks.
So I'd like you to do one more if you feel like it.
I'm going to do one more, and I'm going to, in Vicki style, I'm going to retune my guitar now. This is a gut string.
That's rough.
So all bets are off whether it's gonna work. But we'll get through as much of the song until it gets really bad. But
do you prefer?
This is a song
I mean,
that,
do play nylon? I mean, do you play steel string sometimes? Yeah.
I do play some steel string, but hardly ever these days because I stopped traveling with multiple guitars. It's stressful enough traveling with one.
I hear you.
You know, and I and my nails are at the point now where I can pretty much do anything on one of these guitars and bang and smash and my little gel thing that we're all.
Yep. By the way, David is my nail guru. David is my nail guru.
We're gonna have a nail session one of these days. I think we should do it live on YouTube.
We really should, because I'm so paranoid. I'm going to screw it up. That's a great idea. We'll do it live.
You won't. It's like jumping off that thing. I was stuck in. This is a funny story. I was in France and I just played my first sound check at the Palais des Artistes, and I busted my thumbnail off. And I was freaking out because I didn't know anything about nails, and the Spanish woman dragged me up to the Vieilleville and said, "Uñas acrílicas," and I go, "What?"
Acrylic.
Yeah, so I got my first acrylic thumbnail, and it's a gateway drug.
It totally is. For those of you that don't
thumb picks, but
for those of you that don't know the difference, what the hell we're talking about? Acrylics. I mean, obviously, if you're a woman who gets your nails done, acrylics. You probably use acrylics. They're super hard. And for me, I felt like they were actually squishing my finger. There was just a pressure. And so the UV gel, are a much lighter kind of finger topping.
And they actually are softer. They have a softer tone.
Yeah. Yeah, and I really like it.
So this song, and all bets are off whether I'm going to pull it off today, but it's a song that I wrote for my son when he was in the Bun in the Oven, and it's called The Bun. And as he's now a pretty well-known Nashville guitar player, even though he went to school for saxophone, go figure. But as he grew, I added parts for interest, and so it became this song, and it's basically just, it's Dad Gad writing itself. So here it is.
Nice.
It's not a particularly intellectual song. Yeah, here we go. Actually, sometimes I start it like this, and just so you know, it's from a song called Dogma Condom, but I'm not gonna. But it's good for checking the tuning. All right, I think we're good.
Holy schmoly!
It stayed in tune almost the whole time.
That it did stay in tune. I'm impressed with the nylon string.
Close.
That's awesome. David, people can find out about you from your website. I put the link below.
DavidFeder.com.
Cool. And
it's spelled with an E, F-E-D-E-R. Looks like David Feder.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. And I love what you're doing. And I love the weather reports. And I love all your news and your uplifting stuff. And I haven't gotten to hug you and Tay in years.
I know.
So this is the next best thing. So
I'm going to share something really like silly right now about hugs, okay?
Okay.
And you. So Jennifer Batten and I came down there to play, right? You put a gig on for us. And you hugged us, and you hugged Jennifer like really, really, really hugly, and really hard. You gave her like a David hug. And she, in her Jennifer way, she got out of that hug and she said, "Was that a hug or a mammogram?" Do you remember that?
I do kind of remember that.
So like your hugs are world famous, man.
Well, I'm a hugger. I grew up as a hugger, and I miss that now with all the COVID-y shit going on.
I know. It's a challenging time. You're the best. Thank you. Love you. And don't turn off your Zoom.
I'm not going to turn anything off. I'm going to watch.
And what? But mute your mic.
Okay.
He's gone. All right. David Fader, everyone. Thank you so much. Shout out to Pearl or Wendy, who had only one gel finger done, so she could do claw hammer banjo, I believe is the thing. It's crazy. It is funny enough when I go in and I used to go in and just ask for 4 fingers, so I can imagine just asking. It wasn't this one, was it, by the way? Anyway. Thank you all for being here. I have to tell you a very cool story right now. Right now. I bet you did not know that today, September 24th, is National, if you can guess, I'll give you something, National Punctuation Day. You knew that already? Oh, man. I can't believe you knew that already. Just a little history. National Punctuation Day commemorates all punctuations on September 24th. A period, a comma, a semicolon, a question mark, and an exclamation point are examples of some of the punctuation used in writing, in case you didn't know what those things were called. Without them, meaning would be lost or up for interpretation. So here are some ideas of how you might celebrate National Punctuation Day. And I know you just can't wait to know. Seek out unique ways to punctuate your sentences. You can also try a few of these suggestions. Spend the day critiquing others' mistakes. Don't do that. Determine which of your contracts for insurance, warranties, or service have a misplaced comma that might be to your benefit. If you're doing that today, I don't know, really, you need to get a life. To avoid punctuation altogether, just complete crossword puzzles all day. That's a cool way to celebrate. They don't use any punctuation. Open up a debate about the Oxford comma online. We don't need any more debates. Try using every type of punctuation throughout the day. I like that one. And for you, Grayson, my nephew who's visiting, create a painting or a collage of your favorite punctuation marks. And finally, express how you feel about the evolution of punctuation into emoticons. Okay, that's enough of that silliness. Guitar Cloud Symposium 2.0. Our second round is coming up October 16th through 19th. We're just as excited about this one as we were about the first one. We have Jennifer Batten. It's her brainchild. Gretchen Menn is coming back for round 2. I'll be in for round 2. And we have a new addition. Neely Brush is off doing some amazing recording projects that are secret. We can't tell you about yet. She'll be back. But to take her place this time around, we're so excited to have Angela Petrilli with us, and she's coming on today. Say hey, Angela.
Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me, Vicki. Exclamation
bet.
Point. So happy to be here. Exclamation point.
Oh, I'm just so thrilled, comma, that you could take the time out to be here. Exclamation point. Smile.
Me too. Exclamation point. Emoji. Are emojis allowed in punctuation day?
We're making it up, so
okay.
Go for it.
Cool. We're making it happen. I love it. How are you today? It looks so beautiful where you are.
We are. It's really like it rained and it's grayish, but there's a peacefulness. There's a peacefulness here all the time. It's really a special place where we are.
Love it.
So, and where are you?
So cool. I am in beautiful Los Angeles right now. It is 10 to 10 in the morning. So very, very happy to be here. I'm good. And I'm one of those crazy folks that doesn't need coffee. So
okay, but you do drink tea, right?
You know what I did today is I happened to have some cocoa powder.
Yeah.
And I made just a hot chocolate with water because I can't drink milk. It was very good.
Are you allergic?
Cinnamon in there.
I'm allergic to
It's
milk.
still like kind of bitter like coffee, but it's good.
Yeah.
Change it up today. I'm usually a tea drinker. So.
I've been drinking this thing called Mud, M-U-D, which is just this really beautiful herbal mix of all these kind of herbs plus cacao and chai and just some really great herbs, and it's kind of pretending that it's coffee, but it's way not.
Yes.
But it's on some days it really hits the spot.
Sounds delicious.
You're in LA, and
Yes.
I just met you through Guitar Cloud Symposium. I really didn't know who you were. I didn't know you existed, which I'm sorry to
Yes.
say, but it's like awesome to get to know you and to get to hear what you're doing. I especially love what you
Likewise.
did on our little guitar. We don't have it here, but it's all over the place. Our guitar demo thing that we did for the symposium, where I played a little groove and you all played all over it. It was really fun.
That was
really-
so much fun.
was
Thank you. It was just, it's great to see just how we all play the same 6 strings, the same instrument, and how we have our own spin and how we put our own voice into the instrument. It's really, really fun. So it was very, very cool to be a part of that collaboration. So fun to see what you do, because I am such a huge fan of rhythmic playing and
Yeah.
percussive playing, and
Yeah.
just seeing where you take the guitars is
Thank
really,
you.
really awesome. So
Thank
I'm
you.
really, really happy to be joining you with this. I
Yay!
can't wait.
Yeah, me too. So I know you're going to be teaching, we're each teaching 6 short modules. Do you want to just run down what your modules are so people
Yes.
know what
So
you're...
I'll be teaching intro to slide guitar.
Yes.
I'll be teaching intro to hybrid picking, which is something that I get asked about a lot, not only in my lessons, but online. So I figured it'd be a really, really cool and important technique to kind of talk about during the symposium. Thought it would be great.
Is hybrid
I-
picking mean using a pick and your fingers?
Using a pick and your fingers at the same time.
Okay.
So I like to tell my students it looks like a rooster.
Right.
So you have the pick right here, and then you have the top, and your fingers do this. Because the reason why I utilize this technique a lot is because I love the sound of flesh on strings,
Yeah.
but I also love how picks sound on the strings too.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I'll be playing songs where, say, the verses are very, very quiet
Right.
and whimsical, let's say, so that finger picking is really needed. But then, say, a big chorus comes in, I want to have a pick ready too.
Yeah.
Because it's the cheapest amplifier you could ever buy.
There you
pick.
go.
So I like to have both ready.
I understand. Yeah, it makes sense. Cool.
Yeah. So that's going to be one of the modules I'm going to be teaching. Also, soloing as a conversation, because I think guitar solos, they really are that. It's a conversation. You're telling a story. So I'm going to be looking at soloing from that perspective. Also playing in the pocket, which I think is something both of us are very, very familiar with, in playing in the pocket and creating a foundational base. Not only for other guitar players, for when you're playing in bands, it's really important. Me, when I'm playing guitar, I'm always listening to the drummer first. In any song I hear, I'm always listening to the drummer first in the rhythm section, just to get an idea of where I can place myself in the band to elevate
Sure.
whatever it is that we're doing. So that's an important aspect. So then I figured it'd be something great to teach. Also, I'm teaching how to build your social media brand and how to build your brand online, which I think is very, very important nowadays
It is super
in
important.
music and being a musician, particularly these days with COVID, letting people know you're around through social media. So stuff like that, because I got a degree in communications at awesome UCLA. I'm such a proud Bruin over here.
Nice.
And it's another passion of mine, social media and how it all works in the webbing and how things are all connected. It's really, really cool. So I want to bring some of what I've learned to the table. And then also how to be a well-rounded musician, because it's important for us to be online, but it's important for us to play live too and to play with other folks around. So,
Hey.
I'm teaching another module on that, on how to be a well-balanced musician these days, online and in real life.
That's going to be really great.
Yeah, very excited.
Really good. I know a lot of people are interested in slide, and I am, and I don't know really what I'm doing with it. And I learned one thing somehow from someone. I don't remember, something about having to mute all the strings. So
Yes.
instead of just doing that, I don't know. But what could you just show us a little bit of what you do on slide? And
I would love to. So I like to call those the muting fingers now. So I like to use a brass slide, and this is, we're going to be talking about all this kind of stuff in the symposium. So guitarcloudsymposium.com, check it out. That's where you can register and hang out with us. So I like to use a brass slide when I play. I started on glass. Again, glass is going to have a different tone than brass or than steel or with ceramic. So finding the tone that works for you. Brass works for me. I use it for both electric and acoustic playing. But as far as the muting fingers, I place my slide on my third finger, utilizing these two fingers here behind the slide to mute so you can get a clear tone. Versus if you lift up, see how it sounds a little messy?
Yeah.
Now, sometimes it's really cool to get that sort of sound.
You might want it.
Just depends on the context. But for the most part, if you're backing up a band or something, you might want to do that. Now I'm adding a bit of percussiveness because I love it.
Yeah.
But it's important to use to utilize those muting fingers. It's a good technique and slide, I think. One of the most important ones.
Yeah. What's the advantage to putting it on your third finger as opposed to your pinky?
Well, one of the advantages, I think, versus using your pinky. Now, listen, there are a lot of great players. Sonny Landreth uses it on his pinky finger. He also plays behind the fret too. So that's something, down the road as you begin to explore and get better at playing slide, you can explore playing notes behind the fret.
Can you show us what that even means?
So, like how I would do it. So say you're doing a blues walk down. So how I'm utilizing the fingers on the fretboard to play physical notes.
Right.
And then using the slide to articulate something else.
Okay.
That's within the song. So that's playing behind the slide.
Okay, cool.
For me, why I use the third finger, another reason, not only from utilizing these two muting fingers, I love the vibrato of the third finger. I think it is a little bit stronger than the fourth. Again, this is my opinion. I find the vibrato, you have a lot more control with the third finger versus the fourth finger. So that's why I use it.
I wonder why I was using my pinky.
Some folks find it more comfortable. For me, it feels a lot more balanced to have it here. That's just me. That's just me. But I see a lot of folks nowadays playing it on the fourth. Jason Isbell, he plays it on the second.
Wow.
I believe Bonnie Raitt does as well.
Ooh, Bonnie.
Yeah. I know everybody has their own techniques. There's no right or wrong way to do it. It's all about trying different things.
Now
it's all about trying different things. But I know this works for me.
I found that I actually started to get achy. Did you ever have that at first? Like from the weight of the freaking
Absolutely.
slide?
It comes from the weight. Because think about the physicality of the hand, too. Yeah. The human hand, I think, is one of the most incredible things in nature. Because think about all the things we can do with it.
Yeah.
Think about it. You can, turn a doorknob. You can build a house. You can play guitar. There's all these that, you could do the most intricate to the most large, things you can do with your hand. So it is strange when getting used to having this weight on your finger. It's very odd. You're going to feel it in your palm.
Yeah.
You're going to feel, so these things take some getting used to. So I tell my students, start with a lighter slide.
Yeah.
And just see how that goes.
That makes sense. Actually.
And see how that goes and build up. I think the same thing with like the thickness of a pick. When you're first learning guitar, start with a thin pick and then build up to where you're like, okay, this is the kind of thickness I like with my pick. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Again, that's all your voice.
It's what works for you, right?
Yes.
Is there anything that you want to play for us other than just
I think I'll demo some slide.
Go for it, girl. Yeah.
All right, let's do it. This is a Muddy Waters tune I really like, and I'm gonna add some percussiveness too, because if you're playing in the pocket is something I'm gonna be teaching as well on the symposium. So
great.
So here we go.
Really
Very
nice.
good. Thank
Really
you.
nice. Thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you
Tell
for
us real
having me. This
quickly.
was great.
Tell us quickly about Petrilli's picks.
Yes. So there is an awesome, awesome guitar shop here in Los Angeles called Norman's Rare Guitars. Norman Harris and the gang are just really, really good folks. They're like family to me. Norm runs a really, really beautiful shop. There are guitars there that you will see nowhere else. He's got a beautiful collection of stuff. And I've been doing videos there for a few years, and they took me aside a little while ago and asked if I would like to have my own segment on there. And I said yes. So it's called Petrilli Picks. I play my favorite guitars that come through. There are some really, really beautiful, beautiful guitars there, and I get to demo them, and I have to pinch myself that Norm lets me play these things.
Yeah.
It's really, really great. So you can check that out on the Norman's Rare Guitars YouTube channel. Just type in Petrilli Picks, and you'll get to see all the cool stuff I get to play.
That's
so it's super
so
fun.
cool. That's
Yeah,
so cool.
great.
Only thing I can compare that to in my life is that I had the amazing fortune one time to go to the Gibson Guitar Factory out in Bozeman, Montana.
Yes.
And I actually was told to pick out 2 guitars that I wanted. And so I was just there, all those guitars were, and I was absolutely beside myself. You know, you think in that situation you would know exactly what you wanted, but it's just absolutely insanely hard to decide to pick 2 guitars out of this like whole
Oh my gosh, how
busload.
incredible is that?
And I got to spend like 4 days there, and I was pinching myself the whole time too. So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
so cool. You get to do this like regularly.
I am very thankful every single day. Very, very thankful.
Very cool.
Thankful.
Well, I look forward to doing so. I have a feeling we can do some stuff together. I just feel like we do good writing a song or something together. I just think our styles
Absolutely.
work really well. I just had that feeling the
Absolutely.
second I heard you.
I think so too. I'm really looking forward to it. I
Yeah.
think it's going to be a great time.
Yeah. So everybody check out Angela Petrilli. She's awesome, and I'm so grateful you're here. I'm going to split. We're going to get towards the end of the show now. So
Grateful to be here. Thank
yeah,
you, Vicki.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you again soon. Wow, that was awesome. Slide. Okay, I had other things going on, but we're kind of towards the end of the show today. Y'all have been great. We do accept tips. This is still how I make my living. And to those of you that have chipped in over these many, many weeks, 22 episodes, so thankful and so grateful. It all matters. The tiniest little bit and the largest little bit doesn't matter. Just that you're here, that you're giving what you can. It's really, really, really amazing. There's a really cool event happening this Sunday. Truefire. My family at Truefire is putting together. It's called Songwriters and Storytellers. It's a Truefire event in partnership with Mayton Guitars, and there are 17 songwriters, and we'll all be doing 3 songs of our own, original songs. And then there are other levels at which you can participate. So the basic is just watching the music, which is going to go from 5 to 9 p.m. It's a lot of music on Sunday, Eastern Time. The lineup in this is Adam Levy, Andy McKee, Blair Dunlop, Brooks Robertson, Carl Wachner, Christy Linnae, Clive Carroll, Ellis Paul, Fiona Boyes, Gareth Pearson, Joe Robinson, Massimo Varini, Mike Zito, Muriel Anderson, Rohan Stevenson, Shane Hennessy, Vicki Genfan. I can't even believe we're all in this thing. So this is happening Sunday, the 27th, and then if you buy a certain level of ticket level VIP pass thing, you get to join us on the 30th for a live roundtable where we'll all be there, and it'll be interactive. We can do Q&A and hang out. So how cool is that? Thank you, Truefire, for doing everything you do. And finally, do you have that Halloween picture, Tay? Because that's really something important. Even though we still have time before Halloween, I want you to get this idea in your head. If you're worried about socially distanced trick-or-treating this year, build a candy chute. Andrew Beatty and his 6-year-old daughter from Cincinnati, Ohio, put together a cute orange and black tube in about 20 minutes using materials they had around the house. Once Halloween comes around, Beatty says they'll pop it on the porch railing and then send some morsels down into the waiting baskets of neighborhood ghoulies. The best part, it's an alternative that's actually fun. This is something the kids will enjoy and not think of it as I'm doing this to prevent COVID. Beatty says they're doing it to have a good time. Awesome. Get to it. Make your little candy chute. And
share this. You have like a minute left to share this live and enter in the contest to win the guitar. 2 quotes I'm going to end with. Fight for the things that you care about, but do it in a way that will lead others to join you. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. And history, despite its wrenching pain, cannot be unlived, but if faced with courage, need not be lived again. Maya Angelou. Thank you so much for being with us. Thank you to Tay Hoyle. Thank you, Grayson Hoyle, for hanging out today and helping us with all that stuff you've been helping us with. Love everybody, and I'm so grateful to have this time with you. See you next week. I'm going to play us out on the pan. Our friend Janice Ian wrote a great song recently. Just take us out on it. We may not hear all of it now, but doing it on this weird instrument, the handpan, which I'm in love with. Better times will come. Better times will come when this world learns to live as one. Better times will come. Oh, better times will come. Better times, oh, better times will come. Better times, when this world learns to live as one. Better times.